everybody. Welcome to the Fight to Unite podcast. I'm so excited. Y'all, here we are again, another month, another day with the Fight to Unite podcast. But this particular podcast is something so special to me because I have my amazing friend with me today, Miss April Cobb.
Hey.
Hey, April, it is such a pleasure to have you with us today. Y'all, let me tell y'all, before I bring her front and forward, I'm going to just tell y'all, this is going to be a great podcast because she's everything in a bag of chips, okay? But we have been connected for almost 13 years.
Yeah.
And she's a very dear friend of mine. Met her at Empire Beauty School when I first started in the beauty industry. And one thing she has always been is like a big sister to me because she's older. She's older than me, but it's just something so like God had been using us in so many different ways and seasons of our lives to just be there, coach and encourage each other, pray for one another. Like, it is so important that you have someone in your corner that can be with you through different challenges of life. But she's been so different because not only has she been a friend, but she's been like a beauty industry friend for me. Like, we understand the things that we go through in life behind the chair, but there's been such a beautiful balance that it brings to have this woman. So I'm sharing with you guys my personal experience of this queen, but I want you guys to hear just a little bit about who she is and what she do. So Miss April, please share with us about who you are.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for inviting me to this amazing podcast. Ever since the day that I met you, I knew you were special, and I knew that you were going to be doing great things. You are fearless and always have been, and I love that about you. At first, I was like, "This girl gonna break all the rules. She's just gonna do what she want to do," you know. But it was that you were. But it wasn't that you were breaking the rules, that you were fearless and you're an innovator. And that's what I absolutely love about you. And I hope it never changes. So it's an honor for me to be here with you today. My name is April Cobb. I am the owner of Hair by April Cobb Salon. I just moved into my own suite about a month ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an amazing move. The transition was a God thing, and it has just been life-changing, really life-changing for me. But before then, I worked at Luxa Salon for 10 years, and it was an amazing journey there with my sister Tika and my little niece. They're family to me now. But I started off doing hair when I was maybe about 14. It started with my grandmother, who went to beauty school because she was an OR nurse and she thought she wanted to have something different. So she was going to go to beauty school, and she did. And then she started introducing me to different things. Real quick, funny story. She used to put two little tracks in the back part of my hair, sewing in, because we were all her little models. And the rest of my hair would just be all over the place. But honey, I love them tracks. I brushed them, I washed them, I tied them up. But I think that was the moment that I actually fell in love with doing hair. And even though my grandmother ended up hating it, she actually kind of introduced me to it, and it's been on ever since. But I absolutely love what I do. I feel like I got my mojo back this past year. Yeah, because before I was just like, I felt a little burnt out. But we'll talk about that more with boundaries later. But I think I got my mojo back. So I enjoy what I do. I specialize in locks. I love all things locks. And I'm just excited to see where God will take me next.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Love to hear first how something happened that was significant that always lead people into what they're called to do. And
Yes.
I just love to hear, like, that little thing, that thing for everybody on what was like the trigger point to say, hey, let me
Mm-hmm.
actually start doing this or just try this out. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that you spoke about was that you worked in a salon for 10 years. And
Yes.
I just want you to just share with us about what type of hairstylist were you when you worked in that salon for 10 years? And then also to tell us a little bit about what does that look like for someone who wants to go into work into a salon. What did you learn from that actual experience?
Well, coming out of beauty school, it was always my goal to turn the key on my own salon. But before I did that, something in me, well, I want to say something, I know it was God move, that I wanted to work with seasoned stylists first. And so going into Lux and working under Tika, who had been in the industry now for over 25 years, it was a no-brainer. Um, Having worked in that environment taught me so much that now being out on my own was like a seamless transition, because not only was I a booth renter there, but I was actually close enough to the things that the owner would go through that it kind of prepared me, which is what I wanted. I treated that, and I think that a lot of people should consider that I treated that place as if it were my own. I treated it as if it were my own home, because I felt like I'm a part of this. So, doing towels or taking out the trash or doing things that would make the environment better. I think it's why it worked so well for us for so long. And so, like I said, it was kind of like we both started bouncing off of each other. But I would say to somebody who, straight out of school, definitely work under some seasoned stylists, even if it's just for a little while. But also, while you're a booth renter, treat it as if it's your own, because at some point it will be your own. You will be out on your own, and you want to sow good seed, so that when it's your turn, then those seeds will come back to you. And I feel like that's what happened, because I felt like I was made to feel comfortable, for one, and I treated it as if it was my own. And now that I'm in my own, it was just like a seamless transition, because I was already doing the things, if that makes sense.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sow the seeds because when it's your turn, you're gonna want people to do the same thing. That's
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
that's it right there.
Yeah.
And I look at the beauty of how much you're able. I always talk to people about the back seat. The person in the
Mm-hmm.
back seat can see things that the person in the front seat can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's something about when that backseat person is able to say, hey, watch out for that hole right there that they probably
Right.
but
Right. Right.
because we're in the same car and we both don't want to be harmed, that person in the
Yeah.
seat is able to appreciate that person in the back seat. But then
Yeah. Yeah.
also too, you're able to learn so much in that back seat. And I think
Yes.
that's the beauty of what you just shared is that it's prepared you for what it is that you are stepping into right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
talking about right now, it's Salon Suite owner. Please share
Yes.
with us. How did you know now is the time? How did you know it was time to actually pivot and start your own? Like you said in the beginning, you had a desire to start your own business in the beginning, but how did you
Mhm.
know, okay, now is the time that I actually put those steps in place and I
Mhm.
do what I need to do to start my own?
Well, it was, and I don't mean to keep sounding churchy, but God is such a huge part of my life.
All
And
right.
so, and so with my business, it has always been me and him. So this past July, I celebrated 10 years in the industry. And it was such a major thing for me, but at the time I could not decide on something to do. I was like, oh, I want to celebrate it big, but I don't. really want to do all the different things. So I did. And I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm just grateful. You know what I mean? I'm just grateful to have survived for 10 years, to have survived through a pandemic, to have been able to sustain my life as a hairstylist. But then things started getting a little rocky in my spirit. I got uncomfortable.
Right.
And which was weird, but I know now that that is God's way of saying now it's time to move.
Yeah.
So I think I waited until it was time, until I knew for sure it was my time to go. And then once it was, everything just kind of started falling into place. We spoke about it, and I was like, "Hey, how are you liking your suite?" And you was like, "I love it." I was like, well, let me just go in and do a tour. I really didn't have the desire to even be where I am in the spot that I'm in. I was like, well, let me just go look, and when I looked, the property manager showed me two suites, and I was like, I don't like those. And then he said, well, I got one more coming up, and it was still a stylist in there. But when I looked through the window, I said, I'll take this one. And then I got to the car. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like this? Nobody was talking about this. And so he was like, well, do your application and send it back to me when you think about it. I went to the car and did my application, screenshotted it, sent it back to him. That was on a Monday. By that Thursday, he was calling me saying it was approved. I was like, part of me was like, what are you doing? The other part, like my spirit knew, we know what we're doing. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And so things just rolled on from there. And when I say, it's a God thing, because every little thing fell in place. I had the money I needed. I had the resources I needed. I had support. I called you, so I had everything that I needed. So I knew it was just time. It was just something in my spirit that was like, just go. And I didn't feel any fear. I felt no hesitation. And to this day, a month later, I still have no fear, no hesitation. I don't think that I made the wrong decision by a long shot. So when you start feeling uncomfortable in something that has been comfortable for a long time, pay attention to that. Pay attention sometimes to the things that you feel resistance. Sometimes you have to explore resistance, because that's where you need to, the direction you need to be going in. So I think that just knowing myself and knowing those two things about God, that's how I knew it was time.
All right. I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm so proud of you. I am
Thank
so proud of you.
you. Thank
When the
you.
time is right, the time is right. There's no
Yeah.
stopping when it's God timing.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I just, say that in encouragement to anybody. One thing that I've even learned is like never rush your process. Like
Yeah.
the process is necessary. There's so much
Yes.
development. Like I'm looking at you now, you so stronger than you've ever been. And like I just love to see it. So it's
Yeah.
like the process, the pruning, even the comfortability like that you feel, all of that plays a purpose
Yeah.
in life in general. Like I think
Mhm.
we should always definitely take that into consideration of just trusting timing and process. It is not
Yes.
meant for everybody to own, and it's not meant for everybody to do it today. Like
Yeah.
I'm in
Yeah.
that. Um, it's so beautiful to see. And one thing I do want to talk about that we want to dive into today is we want to talk about collaboration versus
Mhm.
competition. And
Yeah.
in the beauty industry, it's so like a big thing about people thinking that you have to compete. And
Yeah.
I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
In the beauty industry, we have so many stylists, we have so many salon owners, we have several people that do the same thing, that does different things. But let's talk about how if you work in a salon or if you work in a salon suite and you're
Mhm.
dealing with comparison.
Mhm.
Have you ever dealt with comparison or have you faced any of those different things? Like, is there anything that you can share with those who may be facing comparison or feeling like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's kind of like a natural thing sometimes when you're, especially with social media, looking at people even subconsciously, and then you start thinking, well, I didn't do it like that, or maybe I should be as far along. So yeah, there have been times where I've looked at other stylists, when I've looked at other coaches, where I've looked at other people, and I'm just like, well, I don't quite look like that, or I don't quite do that, or I don't, I'm not connected with these people that, I'm like, okay, maybe I should be. I don't know. But like we were sharing before the podcast, I was reading this book called Killing Comparisons by Nona Jones. And it really did really change my life and how I look at things. Even before that, though, as far as the comparison and the competition goes in the industry, I didn't really see it too much in the hair industry because, for one, for me, when I first started doing hair, of course, a lot of people don't know I was going through a lot of different things. So I was on a grind, and I mean a grind, so much so that I was blinded by the other stuff. I didn't have time to think about other people because I was trying not to be poor. I was just going through a foreclosure, a divorce, lost job, all that stuff. So I didn't really have time to really be like, oh, well, she did. I was trying not to be poor. I was trying not to live with my grandmother and her dog forever. I love you, Nana, but no. So for me, it was different. And then as time went on, I had so many clients that I had to refer clients out. So I really didn't have time to compete. And I kind of keep my mind focused on myself because I'm always a work in progress. So I'm never going to be like, oh, well, Aaliyah's doing da da da. She's my competition. No, it's always been, we've been swapping clients for how long? You know what I mean? I'm referring them, you referring them. You were like, listen, we got to find some way to refer these to other people because we both are, our cup runneth over, thank God. But to me, that's where the collaboration comes in because it's enough people for all of us to eat. That we can't, me and you can't do every person who's locked, even in Savannah. We can't even do it in everybody on the east side of Savannah. You know what I mean? So there is more than enough clients for us to be able to come together and collab and say, hey, like you made the perfect suggestion. Let's get some type of roster going so that we can start referring clients to other stylists because our cups are running over. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm a little seasoned too, so I'm skirting more towards retirement here soon. So
oh, I understand.
yeah. So anyway, but to answer your question, I think if we shift our mindsets to think more of collaboration, more of just staying focused on what we're doing and knowing that there is enough to go around for all of us. One or two stylists can't do everybody. I don't care how great they are. So collabing with other people doesn't take anything away from you. And then competing with other people. Again, there's just no need. We are all uniquely made. I've definitely compared in body image, things like that in the past. But again, there's only one April. You know what I mean? And I gotta love my body. I gotta love my life. I gotta love my lane. Just the way it is, because it's the way it is for a reason. And the things that I don't like, I can change. Same thing in our business. If there's something that's going on in your business that you don't like, you just change it. That's the beauty of it. But that's my thoughts on collabing and competing. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I think add a little bonus to it.
Yeah.
And that is so true. I've had my insecurity moments at times as well. And, I think what has been key for me is remembering who I am and what is my purpose.
Mhm.
Focusing, redirecting, and staying focused on that will always allow you to narrow down to know that you can't serve everybody. You
Right.
can't. You don't have the
Right.
time in the day, to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And still be a human being. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And, in this industry, we can get caught up in working from sun up to sundown. But my question for those stylists who are still operating in that type of business, I want you
Mhm.
to think, are you fulfilled?
Mhm.
Are you
Mhm.
truly fulfilled if you are in the salon from sun up to sundown? You can't be, because you're only working in part of the reason why God called you here.
Yeah.
There is another part of life that you
Mhm.
have to be able to experience outside of what you do. And
Yeah.
I want you to talk to us a little bit about that, because I know this is also April the coach. So I want you to share with us, how can we learn as professionals how to balance between work, life, and family?
That is such a great question, because it's something that no matter, I have coached doctors, I have coached moms and women on all pay grades, all scales, all different points in life, and they all come down to the same thing. The self-care part of putting yourself first is so hard for us. Because like you said, when it comes to work, we going all in. When it comes to, family, we going all in. Like whatever it is that we're focused on, we're going all in. But a lot of times at the detriment of ourselves. So it's something that I constantly have to keep myself checked on, because as time goes along, I want to be able to enjoy my life. But I think one of the main things is being self-aware, knowing when your body needs something. And that comes from a habit of giving yourself some time. And I like to call these moments, I made this up myself, but it's called grace moments. And grace moments is what I call self-care. And my definition of self-care is giving yourself whatever you need in that moment, giving yourself that grace, because God gives us grace, giving yourself that grace in that moment to give you whatever it is that you need. If you are in the middle of a busy work day and things are just all over the place, you need a grace moment. You need 5 to 10 minutes to go step outside, to smell the air, to walk around the building, to do whatever it is that your body requires to bring you back to your center point. It may be going to the beach and praying if you have time. It may be sitting around and reading a chapter of a book. Whatever you need to give yourself what you need at that moment, that's what you do. I think when it comes to balancing too, Michelle Obama said this, and I think it was phenomenal, and I'm sure she heard it somewhere too. But when you sit down with your calendars every month, and as a business owner, we're doing today, I had to do a budget meeting with myself. I had to do content creating, for business and all kind of stuff. But there has to be time for just me, that I do whatever releases those good feelings in my brain that brings me joy. Whether that's just watching Netflix, reading a book, whatever it is that I need, I have to schedule myself in. I have to schedule myself in some time where I'm present, making sure that I'm present. So making sure, one, that you are scheduling in your time, and being very self-aware of what it is, because we get caught up sometimes and things are going, 50 miles, 60 miles an hour, that we're doing stuff without even realizing that we're not super present, if that makes sense. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be self-aware and know that, okay, this week I'm just smiling at everybody, but I'm not actually here because I'm exhausted. Now it's time to shut it down and go take a nap. Now it's time to, you know what I mean? Now it's time to really, sleep in extra. If you have an extra hour to sleep in, or go work out, whatever it is your outlet. For me, it's sleep. For other people, it's working out. For other people, is drinking some hot tea. Whatever it is, be aware of what your body needs. And then, of course, once you're good, then you can be good for everybody else. And then you can bring in that balance. Work is not the end all be all. It is our source and it's great. But yourself, of course, God first, but yourself, once you're good, then you can be good for everything else, and everything else tends to balance out.
Well, I thank you for sharing with us about your personal grace moment, but I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to take that and run with it, because that's my whole life, okay?
Yeah.
So that is something that we're going to add to our agenda, is focusing on grace moments and how we can actually give ourselves what we need in that moment.
Yeah.
Taking those
Yeah.
lunch breaks. Do
Yeah.
y'all take lunch breaks? Like, be intentional. I promise you, your clients will not get offended if you sit down for 30 minutes. While they're under the dryer, you sit down and you eat your food and actually enjoy it. Chew it, don't
Yeah.
rush it.
Yeah. And then you got gas all day.
Trying to stay on time with schedule, but I'm like, man, our clients work jobs and they actually clock out and get to do these things.
Yeah.
Can we be intentional with creating these grace moments for us? Because we deserve it. We deserve to sit down.
Yes.
But being intentional during those client processing time and create grace moments for yourself. I love that, April. I love that. I
Yeah.
definitely believe I'm going to be adding that to my life, okay?
Yes, please do. Please do. It makes us better, And just like you said, as far as us being business owners and stuff, now making it up in my mind that I'm not going to work like a crazy person, but do the things necessary to be able to have a certain amount of clients a day, but still be able to have a life and still be able to eat my breakfast, eat my lunch, to be able to spend time with, my babies or whatever it is that I'm doing. I have church obligations and things like that. Be able to do those things without it taking up all of your time and you're just exhausted. Still being able to get my 8 hours of sleep and be able to function in life and be present.
You know what I'm hearing? I just speaking and saying this is the key to fulfillment is balance.
Mm-hmm.
The key to being fulfilled is balance.
I agree.
She's speaking all of the things that she does just outside of work that matters, but also too, even adding sleep in there, but you know, church, spending time with God, reading, family, work, all of these things are like the complete pie percentage of a fulfilled life. We must say we do other things outside of what we do. It's so important.
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
it. Now,
Yeah, it's a really, really good thing. And I want to add this real quick tip for
okay.
people who feel like, oh, this is just, I'm overwhelmed, because a lot of people feel like I'm overwhelmed, and I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. You actually do. And if you want to know how, do an inventory of your time for 7 days from midnight to midnight. Log everything you do every hour. Go back at the end of those 7 days and see where you have time to incorporate in time for you, because sometimes it's going to take, after that inventory, releasing some things, then doing time blocks and compartmentalizing, where some things need to do, some things need to go, that type of thing. But do a 7-day inventory of your time and see where you can put in some grace moments for yourself.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So now I already know there's going to be somebody who say, but I love my clients. I would love to be there for my clients. Like, my clients give me life. I was there. I was that stylist. I was that one that was like, I went head over heels for my clients. And I had put myself last. Now I don't do that. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that I don't serve my clients well,
Yeah.
but I think now I've recognized as a professional
Yeah.
how important I matter before my client. So
Yeah.
let's talk about boundaries. Let's
Yeah.
talk about boundaries. What
Whew.
are boundaries and how can we set them in our life so that we can live the fulfilled life?
So boundaries. So I looked up the definition of boundaries, and it says that boundaries is a line that marks the limits of an area.
Mm.
So basically, it's the line that you draw in the sand when it comes to protecting yourself and against everything else. So boundaries is me against everything. When you think about setting boundaries, you have to set boundaries with everybody, including yourself sometimes.
Mm.
Um, Being on a health kick with myself, I'm like, okay, you have to set boundaries with at what times are you going to eat after a certain time of night, because I'm a snacker and I like snacking at night, which is not good because I'm gonna get what I used to tell the kids, you're gonna get sugar bugs in your teeth. And you're going to gain weight. So even have to have boundaries with yourself sometimes to say, okay, you've done your time inventory. You see where you need to have this amount of time for this and this amount of time for that. Don't allow yourself to go over the time that you set for this particular task. Because what happens after that is something else doesn't get done. And then you're frustrated again because you're trying to go over your boundaries with yourself. And that's something we could talk about all day. But the same thing goes when it comes to other people, when it comes to our clients, since we're talking about it in this setting. If you don't set the boundaries when you first come in contact with your clients, they will do whatever they want, right? So it is our job to provide very good customer service, very good service to our clients. But at the same time, they must know that there are boundaries that protect us. The boundaries are to protect us and for us to still be good and provide good service to them. So if my client says, if I say my hours are from 11 to 7, but my client wants to come in at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do that. You know what I mean? And you have policies and procedures in place for a reason. Those are like your boundaries. Those are to protect you and your business so that you can be good for your clients. So your clients actually benefit from you having boundaries. If I come in at 9 o'clock and I know I'm a grouch in the morning, and this is facts. I won't say a grouch, but I'm not ready to talk, before a certain time in the morning. So if I'm coming into you now, I'm not providing you with good customer service because I don't want to talk to you. I just want to do your hair and you get out. That's not good for the client. And then I'm going to be like that for the rest of the day. Because everybody who comes in after that, then they're going to be talking. I'm still going to be looking like, first of all, I got up too early. Now I'm grouchy. And why are you talking to me?
No,
Or you're
no.
going to right. Self-awareness, everybody. Self-awareness. And then two, you just want to make sure that, like I said, it just kind of goes back to, protecting yourself. You may have clients who feel like, oh, it could be something as small as I have no food policy in my suite. Somebody who brings in food. Well, you bringing in food and you leaving it, or crumbs are going someplace else, brings in bugs or smells, or you know what I mean? And I'm providing this experience for my clients, and smells is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want your salon to smell a certain way. They come in smelling seafood or whatever, you know what I mean? It may smell good at the moment, but when they're gone, it's lingering, that's messing up the experience for everybody else. So you got to have boundaries to say, hey, that doesn't work in here. That all of it goes with that line being drawn. I'm on this side, and this is what I say works for me. If you cross that line, then you have to deal with the consequences, which could possibly be you being fired as a client, or not being able to do certain things inside the salon, in your life, it comes to, if you speak to me a certain type of way, I don't allow people to speak to me a certain type of way, because I don't speak to people a certain type of way, and that's just me. I don't know if it's what that's about, but if you speak to me a certain way and you cross that boundary after I say, hey, I'm not yelling at you. I don't call my friends the B word and all that stuff, because that ain't my thing. But if you do it to me and you continue to do it, then that means you don't get to talk to me anymore. You're going to be blocked. That doesn't matter if friend, family, whoever. I just don't allow people to talk to me all kind of way. That's a trigger for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, why are you talking to me that way? I never talk to anybody like that, and I don't expect to be talked to that way. And if I say, hey, Leah, I really don't appreciate the tone, and you keep saying certain words and stuff, that I really don't like that. And if you can, kind of calm down on that, that will work great for me. We can continue to talk. But if you come back with the next conversation is the same thing, you've crossed my boundary, and the consequences are you don't get to talk to me anymore.
Cut off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it just shows self-respect that you have for yourself, as
Yeah.
well as what you deserve, And I love that. Like, boundaries are so important to be sure that we can flourish.
Yeah.
Sometimes, a lot of times, we can't flourish. We can't get where we want to be. We can't go to the next level when there's no boundaries in place.
Right. So true. So
So
true.
that's homework, guys. Like, how are we setting boundaries? Like she mentioned, how are you setting boundaries with yourself? How are you setting boundaries for those around you? And how are you also setting boundaries with your client to be sure that you can have a balanced life? Sometimes setting the boundaries is saying, like, she's not a morning person, so maybe you want to start later. Someone is going to benefit from you, even though you have later hours. So that's the beauty of it. You're still serving purpose, but you're setting boundaries so that you can be the best person to serve for others. So this has been a great interview. I'm full. I am full. I just love that. Come on, I'm able to, be the first partaker. Like, listen, hey,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
here taking note. Like, I need to get myself together.
Yeah.
But no, it's just always good to have something that you can work towards so that we can grow. We can challenge ourselves, to become better people. And one thing that I love about April, guys, is she's not just a hairstylist, she's a coach. So you're going to get your hair service as well as get coached, right? All in the same little appointment. So April, please tell everyone, how can they find you for your services? Share with us a little bit about where they can find you.
Absolutely. So for all your lock services, you can find me at Vagaro, VAGARO.com/April Cobb. That is where prices, you can book, you can see pictures and reviews. They're all there, and it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can also text me for consultations at 912-660-7294. There is a fee for consultations, and I try not to make appointments via text just because the booking system is up, and it does go ahead and take care of the deposits and all those things. You can also follow me on social media at Hair by April Cobb. If you have questions, you can also email me at hairbyaprilcobb@gmail.com. My coaching side is at Coach April L on social media, and April L, and it's AprilElle.com. And you can see all of my coaching services, and I think that's it.
All right. I love it. So those are how you can reach April if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or if you want to get connected as far as getting hair services or coaching services, do take advantage of her services. And I just want to say thank you, April, for you blessing us on today with your testimony as well as, your experiences that you've experienced, as you became a hairstylist to even having balance between work and life and family. Like this has been such a beautiful podcast, and it's nothing but blessings I speak amongst you as you are on your journey of a salon suite owner. I'm so excited for you. It's such a beautiful journey. Take your time, enjoy the moment, rest in the beauty of being a salon suite owner. Even the challenges. I tell people the challenges is what make us. It's what make us so that we don't break, but so that we can continue to become. So I'm excited to see who you are becoming in this new chapter because greater is he that's within you. And I'm just excited to see it and celebrate you in this season. So thank you for joining us.
No, thank you so much for all of your beautiful words, and I speak the same blessings back to you. I know already that you're going to keep running this race. Like I said, from the moment I met you, little rule breaker. But no, seriously.
Against the grind.
But no, you're an innovator and you're a superstar. And I know that this is just the beginning for you. I know you're going to take it all the way and do some amazing things. I've already watched you do some amazing things, and you just don't quit. You just keep on going, and your confidence in it is amazing. So I speak the same blessings back over you. And I just look forward to us collaborating and continuing to hold each other's hand and go through this journey together. So I love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, one thing that we are going to do is we're going to definitely start a roster. So I'm going to create a link at the bottom of this podcast. So if you want to be a part of our network on how we can actually collaborate together, because, this industry needs us. Clients are seeking professionals. They're looking for a trusted professional that they can rely on. And we want to have you a part of our community. So if this is something that you want to do, doesn't matter what services you offer, but we just want to be particular and understand what it is that you offer so we can know how to refer you. So this podcast is the kickoff to that roster on how we're going to build this network, and we're going to support each other, encourage each other, but also to refer each other. That is the whole motive, that we are definitely recognizing those who are hidden in the industry. You've been in the industry for a while, but nobody knows who you are, where you're located. You are the one I want to be connected to in this season. So also to feel free to share this podcast if this has been a blessing to you. Any other professionals who may be dealing with comparison or who may be dealing with not understanding how to set boundaries in their life. And most importantly, if they are just getting started in the industry and they are looking for a place of work, send them this as an encouragement on how and why. Or maybe you're stuck. Maybe you're in a place of stuck. You're working in a salon and you don't know why you're still there. You want to start your own. We have talked about so many great things on today that will be a great benefit for you. So we thank you guys for listening to today's podcast. Listen, it's always a pleasure to serve you, finding out how we can actually fight together to stay connected and win together. That is what it's all about. Fight to unite. This beauty industry will win because together we are going to stick together to make a difference. We look forward to sharing with you guys our next topic on next month on the third Wednesday at the Fight to Unite podcast. Thank you.